Ms. Jackson, do you recognize this email thread?
I do. This is provided to me after Neva and I had a phone conversation, and I asked her to put it in her own words what occurred and how she feels, and provide that to me.
Judge, if we could scroll down a bit. So, Ms. Jackson, you sent this email to Neva, subject Pam, on October 20th, 2017, and she responded to you in the email above on October 24th, 2017. In your October 20th email, you're requesting a statement from her about her experience with Dr. McMurray. Is that correct?
Correct.
And again, what was the purpose of you asking her, Neva, to send you this email?
Because we had talked on the phone, and I wanted her to put it in her own words so that I'm not misinterpreting or having misperceptions of what she's thinking or feeling or what occurred, because I wasn't in the meeting with her. And I'm not on the phone when Pam and Neva are interacting, so I thought it was important for her to state it in her own words.
So the content of, the issues that you were discussing with Neva concerning Dr. McMurray's behaviors towards Neva, you were talking about those with Neva before you sent this October 20th email requesting her to put her experiences in writing, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. And if we can scroll up to the content of Neva's email, reading the content of Neva's email, Ms. Jackson, is the content of this email consistent with your conversations with Neva Schwartz and the reports on Dr. McMurray's behavior that she reported to you?
Correct.
And the final question concerning concerning Jessica Zurcher's email, which we had just discussed, that was responding to Exhibit 16. You asked both Neva and Jessica Zurcher to provide written accounts of their observations, correct?
Correct.
And you did so with both Neva and Jessica after they came to you with concerns about Dr. McMurray and her behaviors, correct?
Correct. The coding meeting apparently was what, because Neva has been working with Pam McMurray for a while, but the coding meeting that they had, she felt that she was particularly being condescending to her and putting her down, and it sounds like other witnesses felt the same way, and it seemed to be the last final straw that Neva finally spoke up.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, I'll move to enter Respondent Exhibit 15 into the record.
Any objections, Attorney Plantinga?
No.
All right, so Exhibit R15 is received.
Thank you. Did you, Ms. Jackson, have any conversations with Dr. Colchin in this time period regarding Dr. McMurray?
Yes.
And can you describe generally when those conversations began and the context of those conversations?
They would have began when Pam submitted those peer reviews, And then subsequently after, from what I understand, when it was unsubstantiated, Dr. Smith and Dr. Schwartz went to talk to Karen Kulchin about Pam's behavior, and then Karen followed up with me, feeling that Evan was that Pam was continuing to focus on Evan, and that she felt that it was unwarranted.
And for the record, who is Dr. Smith?
Dr. Smith is a neurologist.
First name?
Often the neurologist, they refer to the neuropsychologist for cases that are challenging and patient needs additional testing.
And what is Dr. Smith's first name? I might not have caught it.
Stanya, Stanya.
Okay. Judge, if we could introduce Respondent Exhibit 44 to the witness, please.
Is there a certain part you want me to focus in on?
Just the top for now. Thank you. Ms. Jackson, do you recognize this email exchange?
I do.
This is an email exchange between you and Karen Kulchin on October 4th, 2017, correct?
Correct.
And what do you understand Dr. Kulchin to be talking about in her October 4th email to you?
She was referring to, information that Evan had brought forward to her and Dr. Smith had brought forward to her, that she felt that in her response to that information, she had stopped me in the hallway, asked me about it. I said I didn't realize there was anything really recent going on, but that I know that there have been Pam was, previous concerns, and Karen Kulchin, Dr. Kulchin felt that Pam has interpersonal biases, and that if there really is some kind of ongoing issue, then we can ask for an external review, but she didn't feel that there was any reason that the Med Exec Committee would feel like that's needed. And it would have to be requested by the peer review, which didn't support that.
Okay. On page, she attached what looks like the medical staff code of conduct policy to her email, beginning on 183. Right.
She was suggesting that Pam's behavior was rising to the level of the code of conduct, and she had highlighted some areas that she felt where it applied to Pam and how Pam was acting.
Do you agree, based on your own observations and understanding of your personal observations of Dr. McMurray's behaviors and also the reports that you received from others regarding Dr. McMurray's behaviors, do you feel that the highlighted portions of this medical staff code of conduct are consistent with the concerns that Dr. McMurray's behaviors presented?
I'm going to object to Foundation. She's never participated in med staffing.
What do you mean by that, Attorney Planting?
My understanding is that med staffing is done by physicians like Dr. Kulchin, and that this witness has no experience participating in or dealing with med staffing.
But she did, pardon me, answer the judge's question. Julie?
Oh, I couldn't hear what she asked me. I'm sorry.
Were you ever involved in med staffing?
No, peer review, no.
All right, then I'll sustain the objection.
Well, Dr. Colchin attached this medical staff code of conduct policy to her email to you on October 4th, 2017, correct?
Correct.
And she highlighted 2 areas on that policy, correct?
Correct. She was suggesting to me that either it could be a medical staff code of conduct issue or it could be an HR issue. And so I consulted with, it concerned me to go down the road of the medical staff code of conduct, as that can be extremely serious. It can go on your record. And as a clinician, and I wanted to give the benefit of the doubt, and so I consulted with Karen and HR and felt that HR route was more appropriate.
Okay, and since you received this attachment from Dr. Colchin with the highlights, and you were able to read the highlighted sections, just based on reading the highlighted sections of this policy, are the highlighted sections consistent with the wording of the highlighted sections? Are those concerns consistent with the concerns you personally observed and the reports you received from others regarding Dr. McMurray's behaviors?
Yes, it was very validating.
Okay, thank you. If I could just go to 182 in this exhibit, please. Yep, there we are. Ms. Jackson, it looks like you forwarded this email that you received from Dr. Colchin to Jessica Zurcher on October 10th, 2017, along with the attachment. Can you explain why you did that?
Yes, because Jessica had started seeing the behaviors that we had seen with Pam before. Jessica's perception was now feeling like Pam was being a bully. And so she wanted, I then looped her in on Karen Colchin's recommendations and findings.
Okay. Judge, at this time, I'd like to move to enter Respondent Exhibit 44 into the record.
Any objections? Okay,
Sorry.
and I'll receive R44.
Thank you. Judge, if we could present the witness with Respondent Exhibit 38. Are you familiar with this email thread?
Yes, I am.
Can you explain what is going on in this email thread?
I was consulting with Karen about the clinical director and how Evan was feeling, what was going on. Karen offered to help address with Pam, but that's then becoming outside of her scope, that I wouldn't want to bog her down with something like that. And so we were, she was suggesting that she could if I needed backup, but I knew that Sue and Ildiko were very familiar with what was going on. And then I just had been expressing to Karen, especially over the phone, my concern about Evan. He had started to become very depressed, it seemed like, seemed like he, Pam's behavior around him was affecting him greatly. I was just concerned as a leader, clinical leader, his coping and being able to, because he felt, in his own words, attacked, that his competency was being attacked, that he was being treated with, that he didn't know what he was doing and things like that. And it took him to a pretty bad place. And he was pretty emotional about it. And so I was trying to find a way, Karen and I were trying to find a way that he could be supported by more than Jessica and I. It's more of like a outside party, because we have something called empathia for employees and their families that we can, and actually like whole department, you can pull them in to really help with somebody to talk to and help with coaching, things like that. And I had worked with Phil Chard and advised that another leader and physician do this, and they had a lot of success working with them. So I was hopeful that Evan would see that this was not deserved, that he had every right to be in the clinical position and leadership position he was in. He was doing a good job, but I wanted him to have that confidence coming from some other place than only support from Jessica and I.
So to clarify, who is Phil Chard?
He is, at the time, I think he's retired now, but he was one of the leaders over in Pathia. It's a, employee assistance program.
So to your understanding, this coaching program, Dr. Colchin is suggesting with Phil Chard, did you interpret this coaching program to have anything to do with Dr. Schwartz's quality of patient care or clinical competency, or it's not a coaching program for that type of issue, correct?
No, not at all. No, it was totally to help him see that he is a good leader, that he is doing a very good job. He's doing everything that we have asked him more. And just didn't want him to feel so beaten down and defeated. And he was starting to allow it to get to him.
Okay. Judge, at this time, I'd like to move to enter responding Exhibit 38 into the record, please.
No objection.
Okay, I'll receive Exhibit R38.
So what happened next in the series of events leading to Dr. McMurray's termination on November 2nd, 2017? After this email.
Right. Met with Ildiko and Sue Oliver, brought them up to speed on what was occurring. And Ildiko has suggested that we have done everything possible to support Pam, and that we needed to move with termination, that the organization can no longer support somebody who is so disrespectful to so many people. And that's not what ProHealth cares about. So the decision, we talked about it at great length and ended up making the decision between Sue Oliver, myself, and Ildiko. And then I shared the information with Jessica, and she subsequently agreed as well.
So to what extent was HR involved in the investigation and the decision to terminate Dr. McMurray?
Every step of the way. And Ildiko is the one who had ended up making the suggestion that we were at a point in time of no return. and that we needed to proceed. And ultimately, I ended up agreeing.
Okay. Judge, if we may show the exhibit, respond to exhibits 14 to the witness, please. Ms. Jackson, do you recognize this email?
Yes, this is from Dr. Yanchar, who sends emails once in a while to myself.
And who is Dr. Yanchar again?
Dr. Yanchar is a psychologist. He is specializes in pain psychology for patients who are in chronic pain.
Can you explain your interpretation of what Dr. Yanchar is saying in this email dated November 2nd, 2017?
Judge, I'm going to object. The email is dated after she's terminated. Presumably it was read after she was terminated, and therefore this didn't influence her decision at all. So I can't see how it would be relevant.
What is the relevancy?
It's relevant to support that there were individuals with whom Dr. McMurray worked who shared the opinions of HR and Julie Jackson that Dr. McMurray's behavior warranted action. And
Well, I don't think that's what the
I guess-
email says, nor do I see that it's relevant. So I'm not going to admit it or receive it. I like Attorney Plantinga said it's after the fact. Anything else?
So, Ms. Jackson, if we can sum up the reasons why ProHealth terminated Dr. McMurray, what would they be?
It was strictly about the way she treated people. It was about respect, her lack of respect for others, talking down to others, people's perceptions of her being a bully, all the behaviors that we don't allow in ProHealth care to continue, try to coach and address. And after a lot of conversation and feelings like we had tried our very best to help her be successful, Pam continued behaviors that were not respectful to many people, myself included.
Did you ever consider, or did you have any conversations with human resources regarding any clinical complaints Dr. McMurray had raised about Dr. Schwartz in your decision-making process leading to her termination?
Absolutely not.
Any alleged complaint about Dr. Schwartz did not enter into your decision-making calculus?
Never. I'm the one who encouraged her to send the patients that she was concerned about with Dr. Schwartz to peer review. You always take very seriously any kind of patient safety concern. And so it was extremely important to myself that I felt like we had done our due diligence as an organization. If anybody is ever accused of any kind of issue that could cause a peer review process. I trust that process. I know they do an outstanding job. I've seen them address situations where there have been issues with clinicians and feel like they make excellent recommendations that you can see that the behavior's changed or that person is no longer with us. So I feel like they do everything possible to investigate and follow through on any peer review issue.
Okay, that's all I have for you, Ms. Jackson.
All right,
Thank
Attorney
you.
Plantinga, do you need a break or can we go right into your cross?
Could I just have 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Great. Judge, I expect that we're probably not going to get to Jessica Zurcher tonight, so.
That's what
should
I'm
I-
thinking too.
Should I inform her that tomorrow morning? We'll finish
Yeah,
up with Ms. Jackson. And then
Yeah,
start
and
with
we'll
her.
start at 9 a.m. tomorrow with her then.
Okay.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Ms. Jackson, if you want to step away, you can. If you do step away, just turn off your video and your sound. So if you're talking to anybody, we don't pick up the sound then.
Okay, can I ask how late will we go today?
I don't know how long Attorney Planting is going to take to ask questions. Hopefully it won't be too long, but you're the last witness, so it might be a little bit of time. But I don't know how long it's going to take him to get through his questioning of you. Do you have like a time commitment or anything that you need to be gone by a certain time?
No, my son's going to be home, so it could start to get a little loud, but I'll do my best. But...
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And where I left off, or at least where I think you guys stopped, let me go back to sharing the exhibit. It was on this, after this first paragraph response to number 6, the last thing I heard was these incidents began early from the first week I started on location at the East Side branch. And so we've got, starting here, I think is where you left off, Mr. Michelle.
Okay, so I will continue from there. In the evidence I submitted, my original complaint, there is an email Barbara sent to me from Kyle Paulson, work email address, mentioning what appeared to be an innocuous message stating, Willie, this is Barbara using Kyle email. We have some voucher for you. In a smiley face. This message was a subtle message of what to come. It was a message that Barbara was sending that she can break the rule and get away with it. Confused and perplexed and trying to appease the onslaught from Barbara, I replied, thank you. Certainly Barbara did get away with it. For any reason other than a serious emergency, a colleague should not use another colleague's email and sign on to send a message purporting to be another. As I mentioned above, this email was a clear message that Barbara was hinting to me that her and Kyle was about to harass me, discriminate against me, breaking rule to do so and get away with it. These incidents occurred from November 2015 to February 2016. Should I continue?
Nope, that is it. So in this space, in response to the ERD's request that you identify all acts of harassment that you experienced at the bank, you discuss alleged harassment at the hands of Barbara and Kyle, correct?
Yes, as it pertains to this, what we were discussing here, that's what I put at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I put down.
And but you didn't list any other harasser, did you?
Yes, and I believe that's the East Branch again. Yeah, exactly. I didn't listen to any other harasser than those two. Yes.
Okay, all right. And the question didn't ask you about the East Branch, correct?
Say that again.
I said the question from the ERD wasn't limited to the East Branch, was it?
I don't believe so. It's likely that's my understanding, and again, yeah, that's my understanding. That's how I replied to it.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. That's how you implied to it.
That's how I replied to it.
Okay.
It's on my understanding at that point. Yep, that's what I put in there. Again, yeah, that was a rebuttal that I quickly have to respond to. Yep, that's what I put in there.
And you wrote this, down, correct?
Say that again, Attorney Williams.
Yeah, no problem. So this document, if you go to the first page of it, one of 8, this is dated December 1st, 2018, correct?
Just one second, I can get up there. There we go.
That's the date that I put down. Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then if you go and look at exhibit number 5, and you don't have to unless you don't recall, but that document is dated November 19th, 2018. Is that correct?
Okay.
I see November 19, 2018. Yes.
Okay, so you had some time to put together a response to question number 6, correct?
Okay. I'm looking at November 19, 2018. What was the date again that I put mine?
December
December
1st.
Then
Yes.
2018.
Yes.
Okay. Now the rules and laws, I'm not an attorney. I don't practice that. I think they give you 20 days or 21 days. Again, that's why I know you mentioned a yes or no. I'm trying to make. So again, I got all the work and I type slowly. That's one of my thing. I type very slowly, go over. Yeah. So that's time it take me, to put that. And those are the information that I gathered at that time.
Okay.
Williams, yeah.
But I think the point is that you only listed harassment at the hands of Barb and Kyle in response to the ERD's request that you list all acts of harassment. Is that correct?
Based on my understanding of the question at that time, yes.
Okay. And then on this document, so looking at page 6 of 8, the very last sentence, you write, so the very last sentence in that section 6, you write, quote, these instances occurred between November 2015 and to February 2016. Is that correct?
Exactly. And that's based again on my understanding of the question. Yeah, I go from when I start the job up until February 16 when I come into HR. Yes. Based on my understanding, that's how I answer that.
And did you understand the question to be limiting your response to the time that you were at the Green Bay East branch?
Let's say that again.
Did you understand the question from the ERD to be limiting your response to just your time at the Green Bay East branch?
I did not read that again, unless I see it in front of me. That's page by page I'm reading as you are directing me through it. So again, if the question was they're limiting me to what happened at the East branch, likely that's what I respond to. Yes.
I'll show you the question again, just a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about question 6.
Okay. Yeah, which is for each time you were harassed. Yeah, my understanding of this one is my understanding of this is for each time I were asked, and I base that, of course, yes, on what happened at the East Branch. Yes.
Okay, all right. And in responding to this question about each time you were harassed, when you indicated that the harassment occurred between November 15th and February 16th. I'm sorry, November 2015 and February 2016, you were being truthful in your statement there, correct?
Everything that I say is truthful, yes, integrally with the whole complaint.
Now, Nate looked into several of the issues that you had with Barb and Kyle. Is that correct?
Yes, at some point, as I mentioned earlier, yes.
Okay.
We talk,
Yeah.
a few times, yeah, one-on-one, and I try once, yeah, to be with Carl to talk with them over, yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to turn back to exhibit number 18, Judge.
Okay, just gonna. Okay,
And then I want to go
this,
to the second document within this exhibit, which is the email.
this email here.
Yeah, that we talked about. So I believe you referenced, Mr. Michelle, this email when you were identifying all the reasons that you believe you were harassed at the bank. You referenced this email, correct?
Your question is,
Yeah, no, I can restate. I can clean that question up. So we were just talking about exhibit number 6, correct?
uh-huh.
And in exhibit number 6, you responded to a question from the ERD that asked you to list all harassing acts that you experienced at the bank, correct?
I did mention that email. The context in what I just read, though, that was an indication, I believe, that's what I read. That's an indication of what's going to happen. That's what I read. Yeah, that's the context that I put it there. Yeah, because that's
Okay,
what the email.
so just so we're clear, looking at exhibit number 18, the second page of this is the email that you were talking about in your response to the ERD that we just.
Exactly. That's the one that I refer to. Yes.
Okay. And your position is that this was a form of harassment or a harassing act. Is that correct?
It was a form, yeah. It was a form, yeah. That's in the context that I use it, that it's telling me what's to happen. That's a prelude, basically. Baba was a message, put it that way, a message Baba was sending to me of what's going to happen.
Okay. And how is this harassing?
Well, how this email is harassing?
Yes.
That's your question. As I
Did
mentioned,
that,
this is a message to me, this is a message to me that tell me what to expect. It is an innuendo of the harassment that will take place as I go to the that's my answer to that. That's our answer now.
okay. Okay. So in this exhibit, let's scroll down a little bit and go to page 4.
Page 4 of his statement.
Yeah, page 4 of his statement. Sorry, Judge.
Okay. Okay, so that's page 4.
Okay, so on page 4 of this statement, the first full paragraph starts with, "It was about that point." Do you see that? Okay. Can you read this paragraph? You can read it to yourself, you can read it out loud, and when you finish, look up.
It was about that point that Kyle washed into the back office where we were talking and said in short, "You too loud, I can hear you up front," which really was not. It was a preface of an attempt at assaulting me. At that point, I can see in Kyle's face that he was angry and ready to take action. I then said, "Okay, Kyle, we were loud. I'm going to close the office door for a moment." Kyle objected loudly, "No, you are not. You are not going, you are not. You are going to the teller line. I'm not going to let you speak with her that way." At that point, it was Bob speaking. At that point, it was Bob speaking, but as soon as Carl stepped in, she did not say a word through the whole short conversation. I then pretend everything was still okay and hold the door handle and told Carl that I'm going to close the door for some privacy. As soon as I hold the door handle, Carl immediately take his fighting posture, put his right foot blocking the door and ready to attack me. My hand has slightly touched the door handle and it was jammed tight against the wall. I saw the situation escalating, and in fear at that point, I suddenly stepped back deeper into the office and said, I'm going to call Nate.
Okay. All right. So in this paragraph, do you see where it says that Kyle said to you, I'm not going to let you speak with her that way?
You want me to read it again? But yeah, I do believe I just read that.
Okay, okay. And is it fair to say that he had a problem with the way you were speaking to Barb?
That's based on what she said, yes.
Okay.
That's what.
And then going down a little bit further in this document, you write that Kyle, quote, Kyle immediately take his fighting posture. Do you see that?
Go back over again, Mr. Bullocks, if you would.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. So at one point in here, you say that Kyle immediately take his fighting position. I think the judge is her.
Yes. Yep. I can say that she's kind of highlighting over it. Yes.
Okay, so he must have been really upset. Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of pressed his buttons.
Say that again, sir. I do
His buttons were pressed.
Huh?
His buttons were pressed.
I'm sorry. Oh, I think I got you. You use a little bit not legal language. You say his button was pressed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which mean he was mad?
Yeah, he was mad at
Meaning,
you.
okay. Now, my English is my second language. I got, again, it's my second language. If once you leave thing I cannot find clearly in the dictionary, give me a little bit of problem. Button press. That means he was angry, or I'm inferencing to get what you really meant. You meant that I push his button annoying him?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
if that's what you mean. We want to be clear with him. No, I did not push his button, if that's what you mean.
Okay. But he was pretty upset to get into a fighting position.
He was angry. Yes.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right. Now, Mary Connaughton investigated the issues that you reported about Barb and Kyle, correct?
It is alleged.
So, do you have reason to dispute that she investigated your allegations?
I do.
Okay. Did she ask you questions about your allegations?
Yep, I did talk with her. Yep, I did talk with her. Yeah, I did talk with her.
And do you know whether or not she spoke to anyone else about the issues you raised?
I have no idea. There's no way to verify that. That person, yeah.
All right, so you have no reason to dispute that she talked to other people, correct?
It's the way you ask me the question here. I do. I do. As part of it, I do. Again, I don't know if, I don't have a way to verify if she did, but I do have to dispute that, I guess, the way you asked me the question.
Okay, well, do you have any
investigating?
Okay.
So the question again, I guess I'm going to answer it for you.
All right, thank you. So you don't have any evidence to suggest that Mary did not investigate the claims that you brought about Barb and Kyle by talking to other people?
I don't have physical evidence. I don't have physical evidence to say that it did not or not. Yeah.
Okay. At this point, I want to introduce exhibit number 19.
Okay, so that's exhibit 19.
Yeah, and I believe this was discussed earlier as well.
Yes.
So Mr. Michael, on this document, this is a letter from Mary to you, dated March 4th, 2016. You received this, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in this letter, she writes, the first paragraph, that as we discussed on February 29, 2016, I did not identify any harassment or retaliation. However, the work environment was not comfortable work environment to be working in, correct?
I do read that, yes.
Okay. And this was in March of 2016, correct?
It's, yeah, that's the date. Yeah.
Yeah. And your employment wasn't terminated anytime soon after that point, correct?
It's after that.
Right. So, but your employment wasn't terminated in 2016, correct?
No, it was 2017.
Right. It was towards the end of 2017, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
September 17, yeah. You can say that almost at the third quarter. Yeah.
all right. All right. I want to now direct your, well, actually, before we go there, you mentioned earlier an annual employee survey that you filled out. Is that correct?
Employee survey, yes, I did fill one. Yeah.
Okay. And when you filled that out, did you put your name on that document or that submission?
I can't recall.
Okay.
I can't recall, but again, as I did mention, I wanted to send whatever light I wanted to send a message, but I can't recall if I put my name or not.
Okay. And do you have any evidence or any basis to dispute that those surveys those surveys come in anonymously?
Let me try to explain. Those survey came anonymously to me, or
It's fair. Yeah, the surveys go to the bank anonymously.
or after that I do them.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's work. No, I don't know how that's work.
All right, fair enough. All right. I want to direct your attention to exhibit number. Exhibit number 31. So exhibit number 31 is a copy of our discovery request to you in this litigation.
I would say so.
Okay. And then I want to go to page 12 of this document. Okay. In interrogatory number 1, asks you to identify, I'm sorry, Judge.
That's okay. I'm almost there.
Yeah, and questions on here are really short.
All right. So there's page 12, interrogatory number 1.
Okay. So interrogatory number 1 asks you to identify each and every act of discrimination taken by the bank. Is that correct?
You want me to read it? I mean, it's best to read it. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, if you want to read it, that's fine.
I agree with you. Sometimes I hesitate, to just agree on what you tell me by just saying yes on the record. Okay? Or in case it might be no. So I'll make a quick read, then answer by yes or no. Thank you. Please describe with specificity each and every discriminatory action taken by Associated Bank pertaining to your complaint in this matter that you contain was motivated by your race, color, and or national origin, and including your answer, the date or approximate date of the discriminatory action, any witness to the discriminatory action, and detailed summary of each discriminatory action. I read that, I get it, and the questions, please.
Okay, all right. And then interrogatory number 2, can you read that one as well?
Okay. Please describe with specificity each and every act of harassment you experienced while working for Associated Bank, and include in your answer the date or approximate date of each act of harassment. Any witness to the harassing conduct,
All right.
and a
And
detailed summary of each harassing act.
okay. With this, I just want to make sure the record is clear, that you testified earlier today that you did not mention the shirt ripping situation in response to your discovery, in response to our discovery request, correct?
You did mention that earlier. Yep, you did seize on that.
All right, great. Okay. And I have no further questions, but Judge, before I stop, I would like to introduce into evidence a few of the exhibits that we went over.
Okay. Sure. Which ones?
And I'm looking at introducing exhibit 10, 11, 14, 16, 17, 21, 4, and 18, and 30, it was 31.
Okay. And I can go through those separately, Mr. Michelle, and see if you have any objections. So just in chronological order, not the order that he just said. The first exhibit was exhibit 4. So let me show you what that is again. Okay. This is exhibit 4. Do you have any objections to my receiving this exhibit into the record? I think this is the termination letter.
Okay, and please, your question, Judge. Do I
Do you
have
have any objections to my receiving this into the record?
for you to receive it? That's fine for you to receive it.
Okay. Then the next exhibit that Mr. Bullocks mentioned was exhibit 10.
Judge,
Yes.
just before you go, again, explanation of the rule of law. That's where I lack. Let me just ask that clarifying question. Do you also meant by any way here, do I agree with the facts of this? You don't mean that.
No. Do you have any basis for my not receiving it as evidence? That's all I'm asking you. Not whether or not you agree or disagree with what the documents say, but if there's any foundation or any kind of other objection to my taking this into evidence.
You may take it as evidence, yeah.
Yes. So this is exhibit 10. This is the offer letter. Are there any objections to this becoming evidence?
The offer letter to me, no.
All right, so then exhibit 10 is received. The next exhibit is exhibit 11, and that is your application or the application materials. Did you have any objections to this document?
No, that's my
Okay.
application.
All right, so then exhibit 11 is received. The next one would be exhibit 14. And that is the email between Kyle Paulson and Nathan Vandenbraden. Any objections to that?
Again, Judge, bear with me if I have you to repeat this again. And that is only if you should enter it, not that
Right.
if it's okay, if you should enter. For me, yeah, I object to the content of it, but if you want to accept it, that's fine, but that's untrue.
Okay. Then the next one is exhibit 16. Let me just get there. Exhibit 16 is Barbara McDonald's statement. And again, not that you agree with it, because I know you testified that you didn't agree with it, but any other objections that I should not receive it into evidence?
That's nope.
All right.
That's what they present, yeah.
All right, so then that exhibit 16 is received. The next exhibit is exhibit 17, which was the statement from Michael Tenhaken. And again, I believe he testified that there was things in here that were false or not true, but any objections to my receiving it into the record?
Okay. And this is as Are we accepting this as Mr. Taking it and being a witness? Is that what we will put here? That he's
No,
a
what
witness to this?
no, what I would take it as is this is a statement that was provided to Nathan, and Nathan's going to testify, and I'm sure part of his testimony will be that he took this into consideration. So it's more what did Nathan know, not necessarily whether or not it happened.
Okay. Again, it's regarding what he said that he hear. Okay. That's about the question that I have here, because the counselor I follow he said here what people hear. Now, what
Right.
we mention here is just what he hear discussing. Is that would apply? Isn't that hearsay?
What I think that, and Attorney Bullocks, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the purpose of this statement is what Nathan believed happened based on what he received from Mr. Tenhaken.
Exactly. It goes to state of mind.
Um,
And
I would object to that. I would object to that. Again, Mr. Nathan did not hear this directly. Okay, he did not hear this directly. So he did not this hear directly. This is again, I don't want to again, I don't know what the length that was made up. That's the same date when I filed my complaint. Everybody start throwing something. That's what that is. Mr. Nathan did not hear this. It could
Right.
not be that would yeah, in that sense, I would challenge that. He did not hear
Well,
this
and
directly.
that's not why I would be receiving it. Again, I would be receiving it solely to go to what Nathan understood happened. I understand he wasn't there. And again, I'm not taking this on its truthfulness based on the statement itself. But the only reason I would be receiving it is that this goes to what Nathan knew based on what he was told. And it goes to, as Attorney Bullock stated, his state of mind. What did he believe? We know that
And
Nathan was not there.
yeah, just for further clarification, uh, Nathan as a witness, okay? That's what it
Mhm.
will be based on this. Is that my understanding?
I believe so.
yeah,
Nathan
It's
is going to be testifying about this, and I'm sure one of the things he'll say is he received this, he reviewed it, and he made some conclusions based on it.
okay. Um, yeah, again, my objection is that this is something that Mr. Taking Hayden said that it here happened.
Okay.
Again, me, I know personally that it is not true, but that's something that he made up that it's a it here happened. It's just to complement the case, basically.
Right. And like I said, I'll just receive it so it goes towards what
In that
Nathan
sense, Your Honor,
Vandenbren's
yes,
statement of mind
I would not
was.
take legal argument to tell you that's not my line. Legal argument without any evidence. But again, I'm just being cautious that because again, my own point of view, I know this is not right. Would it be valid? Let it be used by the respondent in their advantage. If it's not based on that rule that I just mentioned, that would invalid based on your decision, your authority on this, I would say I would agree to that point. But I think that I have to do that objection on it. If it is hearsay, it's not something directly that Mr. Nathan did hear himself.
Right. And I'll make clear that I'm receiving it for the limited purpose of what Mr. Nathan's state of mind was based on what he received it, not to the truth of what's stated in here.
Go on, George. Yes.
All
Yes.
right, Exhibit 18 is the next exhibit, and that was the email complaint that you made in February of 2016 about the discrimination and harassment. Did you have any objections to my receiving this exhibit?
I'm just quickly reading so many things. I'm reading. If you can go back again with
It's
yeah
your
with
email to HR on February 5th, 2016
yes,
with your complaint of
that is
discrimination.
that
Any
is fine.
objections?
No, that's fine.
All right, so then Exhibit 18 is received, and then Exhibit 21, I believe, is the next exhibit.
Mhm.
And Exhibit 21 is emails between Christopher Morris and Nathan Van Braden. And again, I guess it would be similar to the discussion that we had about Tenhaken's statement that this was just things that were told to Mr. Van Braden from Mr. Morris, and it would go more towards his state of mind, not necessarily that what Christopher is saying is true, but it goes more towards what
I want to
Mr.
object to
Morris.
that. Yeah, I want to do object to the judge. At the very end, Mr. Moss, that's basically telling what other people say to him. That's not there to testify. That's making a case. I would object to that. I would
And
object to that here.
And again, I'll just receive it for, again, the purpose that I stated, that it goes towards Mr. Vanden Braden's state of mind.
Okay.
And then exhibit, the next one. I think there's one more. Oh, exhibit 31. That was the one we were just looking at, I believe.
Yep.
So exhibit 31 are the questions to the respondents' discovery questions. Did you have any objection to the questions being received?
To me, no.
All right.
And then, Judge, there was one more, exhibit number 19, which is
Yeah,
marriage.
and I had that one written down and I actually started writing incorrectly. So yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was checking off as you were telling me, and that was one that I had checked off while we were testifying about it, but I didn't think that you mentioned it. So let me go back to exhibit 19. Okay, and exhibit 19 is the email, or excuse me, well, I guess it was delivered by email, but it was a letter from Mary Coddington regarding your complaint in 2016. Did you have any objections to that, Mr. Michelle?
No, I don't.
All right, so then exhibit 19 is received. All right, Mr. Michelle, did you have anything else that you wanted to testify about to this evening? We'll hold off on getting into questioning of Ms. Coddington until tomorrow because it's almost 5 o'clock. But is there anything else that you wanted to testify about this evening, Mr. Michelle?
Yes, and I have to, again, I have to mention that with the very first question, I believe that I will try to elaborate as much as I can, where Attorney Bullocks mentioned hiring me, that Nathan did hire me. Now I'm going back to the question itself. As he mentioned, when he hired me, he related the first questions as though it was regarding, does my race,
Right,
do I think or believe is still discriminated against me due to my race,
right,
color, and national origin? I know that's the way that he have to ask that question on his side. That's the way to keep it. I did understand that clearly. What I just want to make clear is that what I want to elaborate upon, it is true that he did hire me for that position. That's not a position of my choosing. That's something the company can use me for it. They see me useful for it. That was the position that's what that was given to me. It was not my choice. I have to say that because I needed a job. That's the first thing they have to say. There's a position they want to fill. So you see what I mean? They scale me down to accept it. So regardless, you were, somebody hired you because you were black, you from because of your national origin, but there's certain jobs, certain positions that are hard to fill, and that's a lot of overturning. People can use you for that. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you have to see the position that I was given to say go and pick this one instead, and suddenly you will get a job. Basically, my interview also with as I mentioned, also my interview was it's an affirmative interview. I just to put the term. That's a job that I was gonna get because the recruiter told me if you do this, you're gonna get the job. So I just want to kind of counter that I didn't have the choice. There was a little bit upheaval between me and him trying to explain then what makes answer by yes or no. That's a job that was given to me to fill. It's basically working, and I'm just gonna say that analogy. You go to a restaurant, you know you want this, but it's somewhere somebody want to put you. Okay, it's not where you choose. It's someplace they say this one is better. Why don't you go here? Kind of using that analogy there. So in that sense, that's how I did object to that. The way that he posed me that question is have nothing to do then, because I was relegated to another position, and overall, Mr. Vanden Braden, very soon after, was starting to slight me and starting to find a way to don't let me move to other position. Supporting clearly with Carl when I asked him to Carl body with Carl, that's his body, they go to drinks and everything, and also with my current plan. Both that I started with him, I followed the protocol. I want to talk with him. Then when I see nothing happen, when I escalate to HR, then that's when he really take a toll. That he set against me to set me out. A lot of things that I didn't do at the bunch that I'm supposed to do per protocol that I did not do was because of my origin. Job that I supposed to do actually is because of my origin. I can count on my finger how many times that I unless, let me put that clear, I will go over later, one of them, how many times that I objectively, and I mean on my own, with somebody, check the vault, which is very important. It's strange. Everybody stays silent about it. And it's unless I was close by myself with one of the lower position, which is Rachel. It was about that, those days that's plain for me to be there where everything is already set, that I can't devote the way it's supposed to be. That's strange because that's a very long year to work where you are doing something just to keep your job you are signing. So that's what I did object to. That was a position that was given to me. Of course, it was an affirmative hiring, because I know with the recruiter I was set already. I just have to talk with basically to Nate, then I will get that position. So yeah, that's where my objection is. Overall, it's the totality of everything there after the retaliation that I could not go any further than that position. That's all that to put together, and everything else that slides from Mr. Vanden Braden and other thing that from even though that I go to the DP where the issues follow me. It started well as soon as Barbara stepped in, and then all the issues kind of revealed themselves again. So that is my objection in that sense that I want to clarify and explain on my side.
Right. Anything else, Mr. Michel?
That's all I can think of. It's a long day.
Sir, did you have any additional questions, Attorney Bullocks, for him?
I do not.
All right. Then, like I said, we'll end for today then, and then we'll start again at 9:30 tomorrow morning. I believe, Mr. Michel, you'll call Ms. Coddington first as a witness, and then Mr. Vanden Braden?
I intend to do it that way, yes.
All right. So then anything else from either one of you before I let everybody go out?
No, not for me.
Not for me.
All right, then thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 then.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
evening.
You
Bye.
too.